Many of you think you need a speaking partner to improve your fluency. You don't. At least, not yet. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly why. Because here's what most English learners do. They reach a certain point in their learning. They know some grammar, they know some vocabulary, and they immediately go looking for someone to speak with. A language exchange partner, a tutor, a native speaker friend. And when they can't find one, they stop, they wait, they feel stuck. But what if I told you that the absence of a speaking partner is not your problem? It's actually your advantage, if you know how to use it. Today, I'm going to explain three things to you. Number one, why most learners have this completely backwards. Number two, the principle that elite performers in every field use that almost no English learner ever applies. And number three, exactly how to build genuine speaking confidence before you ever open your mouth to a real person, by yourself alone. Yes, it is possible. So let's get started. Number one, the backwards assumption. There is a belief that is so widespread in the language learning world that almost nobody questions it. And that belief is this: the sooner you start speaking with real people, the faster you improve. Now, I understand where that comes from, because speaking is the goal, real communication is the goal. I agree with that completely. Nobody learns English to read grammar books forever. But here's the problem with jumping straight into real conversations before you're ready. Because when you are in a real conversation with a real person, with real social pressure, your brain is doing too many things at once. You're listening, you're processing, you're searching for words, you're managing the dynamic of the conversation. You're worried about what the other person thinks of you. And under all of that pressure, you fall back. You use the words you're comfortable with. You avoid the grammar you're not sure about. You survive the conversation instead of growing through it. Here is a big idea for you to take with you today. Real conversations reward the English you already have. They don't build the English you don't have yet. Let me say that again. Real conversations reward the English you already have. They don't build the English you don't have yet. So if you go out and start speaking with real people before you've done the solitary work, the refining work, the rehearsal and practice work, you are basically performing before you have rehearsed. And that's where this gets interesting, because this is not just a language learning problem. This is a performance preparation problem. And the greatest performers in the world, guess what? They have already solved it. Which brings me to point two, the simulation principle. Think about a rock band, a serious one. They have a show, a stadium show, 80, 100,000 people, the biggest night of their year. What do they do months before that show? They rehearse, they get into a studio or an empty venue, and they play every song. They simulate the entire performance for nobody, or almost nobody. No crowd, no energy, no applause, just the band, the instruments, and the music. And that rehearsal, that private, invisible, unglamorous work, is exactly what makes the real performance possible. Because when the night comes and 80,000 people are watching, the band doesn't have to think. Everything is already in the muscle memory. Everything is already there. Now, let's go somewhere completely different. Martial arts. In a dojo, students spend enormous amounts of time practicing situations that haven't happened. The instructor might say, "Someone grabs you from behind. What do you do?" And you practice it, slowly at first, then faster, over and over. It's a simulation. But why do you do it? Because if a real situation ever comes, God forbid, and someone actually grabs you on the street, you don't have to think. Your body already knows what to do, because you have already done it 100 times in simulation. One more example, pilots. Before a pilot is allowed to fly a real commercial aircraft with real passengers, they spend hundreds of hours in a flight simulator, a machine that replicates every condition, every crisis, every emergency with zero real-world consequences. And only after accumulating all those hours in simulation are they trusted with the real thing. The rock band, the martial artist, the pilot. Three completely different fields. One identical principle. You simulate before you perform every single time. So I want to ask you something. Why would language learning be any different since it's also a skill that takes time to develop? You know where I'm going with this, right? I'm talking about the importance of simulating a real scenario by yourself alone before using English in the real world with real people. Now, some of you might be saying, but Thiago, I'll feel stupid or silly talking to myself and simulating situations alone. First of all, don't feel that way because, it's part of the learning process. I mean, I used to do that all the time. I used to talk to myself a lot back when I was learning. But look, if you want your simulation to feel a little bit more real, if you want something that actually talks back to you, challenges your answers, pushes you into uncomfortable territory, check out my app, the B2 Edge, because it has a built-in AI coach that does exactly that. It simulates real conversations, job interviews, professional situations, casual chats, all of it at your level, on your schedule, without you needing to find anyone. So if you want to add a bit more reality to your speaking simulations alone, the app can be a great companion for that. Link in the description, learn more about it. Okay, so far we have covered why many learners fall into this trap of believing that they need to find a speaking partner right away when they're not ready yet. And I've also told you about the importance of simulation, of simulating conversations, scenarios by yourself, and practicing and rehearsing alone. But now, let me talk about the third point I have for you today, how to do it. Let me share with you a little bit of my story here, just to give you some context. For the first 3 years of my English learning journey, 3 years, I didn't really speak English to real people. I studied by myself with borrowed course books, and that was pretty much it. Nobody around me was serious about learning English. So, naturally, I had no partner to practice with, no exchange, nothing. So, I did what I had to do. I practiced alone, in my head, out loud when I was by myself. And I want to be clear here. I'm not telling you to do that for 3 years. That's too long. I only did that for that long because it was a different time. There was no internet, no apps, no AI, almost no opportunities to connect with English speakers anywhere. You have tools today I could not even dream about 25 years ago. But here is what I need you to understand. Listen closely. When I finally started speaking with real people, tourists at work, then colleagues, then Americans on the phone at a call center, something unexpected happened because the things I had rehearsed previously alone in my head started to come out. The phrases I had practiced, the arguments I had built alone, the opinions I had formed and refined in silence. They were there, ready, accessible, because I had already rehearsed a lot. The performance was possible because of the rehearsal nobody saw, remember? So here's what I want you to do, and this is practical. You can start today. Step 1, pick a scenario, a real one from your life. Could be a job interview in English, a meeting with a foreign colleague, a phone call you've been nervous about, a presentation you need to give. So step 1 here is pick a real scenario. Now, step 2, simulate that scenario out loud. Imagine the other person is there in the room with you. What do they say? What do you say back? And what if they ask you something you weren't expecting? Play both sides of the conversation if you need to. Be the interviewer and the candidate, the client and yourself. That's step 2, simulation out loud. Step 3, and this is the part most people skip, reflect on it afterwards. Where did you get stuck? What word didn't come out when you needed it? What sentence fell apart halfway through? Those gaps, that's your curriculum. That's exactly what you need to go study and master. So step 3, identify the gaps through reflection. That is your curriculum. Do this seriously for a few months. It doesn't have to be an hour every day. 20 to 30 minutes of genuine scenario simulation with real reflection is worth more than 10 frustrated minutes with a conversation partner who's looking at his phone or not really there involved in the conversation with you anyway. And then, when the real situation comes, you won't be performing for the first time. You will be performing for the 100th, 200th, 1,000th time. So you will be ready. All right. You came into this video thinking the lack of a speaking partner was your problem. I hope you're leaving this video understanding that it never was. The band rehearses before the stadium. The martial artist simulates before the street. The pilot flies the simulator before the plane. And you, before you go out and speak English with real people in the real world, you simulate alone, on purpose, with full attention, or with a new tool like my app, the B2 Edge. Use AI with that intent. Simulate conversations where nobody's involved. It's just you and AI. That also works very well. The performance is possible because of the rehearsal nobody saw. That's the third or fourth time I say this in the video. This is your takeaway from today. Remember that. Now you have two options. Option 1, take the 3 steps I gave you today, build your own scenarios, and start rehearsing alone today. Completely valid and effective. Do it. Option 2, if you want your simulation to feel even more real, if you want a partner that actually responds, adapts to your level, and gives you feedback, just open the B2 Edge app and work with the AI coach. It was built exactly for this. It was trained by my 20 years of experience teaching English. Real conversation simulation, no scheduling, no social pressure, no waiting for someone to show up. The link is below. I'm Thiago. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll talk to you in the next video.